Christina, and this is a follow-on video to the one I just did. I just realized that I forgot to mention my Uncle Rich, and how he was an instrumental part of my life. My Uncle Rich was my mom's brother in Pennsylvania, and he actually was somebody that didn't want to go to college, and he had his own business in real estate. So again, I had these early entrepreneurial influences in the men in my family, and of course, once I got a little older and I was with my mom, it was back to school and jobs. But anyway, I spent a lot of time with my Uncle Rich when I was little too, because he and my other uncle, my Uncle John, they were brothers, and they built houses in Pennsylvania, like, I don't know, like 8 to 12 different homes. And they don't build them up there like they build them down here in Northern Virginia so quickly. It's really a project, and it takes, it's a smaller crew, and it's really quality, and they're built to spec. And usually a couple, like a married couple, will come in and talk about the design that they want, and they have land and they build the house on the land. So that's how it's done in Pennsylvania. And because my grandfather owned a hardware store, like but all the stuff that was necessary, we'd go down to Pittsburgh to get. And I was, as a little girl, I was like so used to going onto these job sites, these construction sites with the houses. And I remember like my uncle saying, I'd always come into the house under construction. My mom would be like all worried, and I'd be all excited because it's like so cool to see something being built from nothing, like something from nothing. And my Uncle Rich would be like, "Don't touch the pink, fiberglass insulation." And of course, to a little girl, it's like, "Oh wow, it's like cotton candy," and you just want to touch it. And I did touch it, and it was like that metallic stuff in it. Like, of course, you'd never listen until you try it yourself. And anyway, so my mom and I used to bring him sandwiches and this kind of like this cooler of lemonade, and I used to play with scrap lumber. And I used to have Tonka toys, and I would like arrange them in the dirt, and I had this scrap lumber, like these ramps, and I was building a city, and oh my gosh, like totally like, okay, I had Barbie dolls too. I did have my Barbies and I loved them, so I'm definitely like feminine on that side, but I was just like gender neutral type of a thing. Like I would also like the Matchbox cars and the Tonka dump trucks and playing in the mud and scrap lumber, and I loved, seeing the houses being built and everything like that. So that was always fun, and it's kind of cool to go there at night because they would have all those like those shop lights hanging like hooked in the rafters, and it was really kind of cool. So my uncle, he also had like a business. He had a small convenience store. I found out later in life that that little store in this rural area grossed, I think it's gross, I don't think it was net profit, I think it was gross profit, maybe it was net profit, I don't remember, but either way, it was like $500,000 a year, like $500,000, and at first I was like, wow, that's amazing, but then my values kind of kicked in, and I realized that when I talked to my uncle a little bit more, I realized that a lot of that was from beer and cigarettes and just a lot of fast food and coffee. So if anyone has known me for any length of time, you know that I'm totally committed to health and a plant-based diet, and I've never had a cup of coffee in my entire life. I love tea. I drink water and fresh juices and smoothies, and I don't eat fast foods, processed foods, no beer. I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink any alcohol at all. never had a cigarette. I mean, I have a very pure life, very clean eating. I don't partake in any of those things, and I could never have a business like that, no matter how much it brought in. I just will not do that. I remember, he asked me once, because, after talking with me a little bit and all, he knew that I had an inclination for business and money and these kind of things, and he's like, would you like to run it? Because his wife, my aunt, had no interest in to running it, probably because of the people that would come in there, and some people would steal, so I'm just like, ugh. And I said no. There's just no way I would run this with you, and it's really against my values. This is not the kind of business that I want. I want to do a business that has integrity and ethics, and to provide something good for people in some way that I can feel good about. I don't want to make money off of someone's addictions, because like if you have coffee, cigarettes, or beer, you're making money off of somebody's addiction that is unhealthy. I mean, they're addicted to nicotine, they're addicted to caffeine, or they're an alcoholic. And you know that you're going to make money because that's consumption, and they're going to need to replenish their supply like daily or weekly, and their addiction is your cash flow. And their addiction is your recurring revenue. And some people are okay with that. Like, they don't care. Or maybe they have the same kind of lifestyle, so they don't see anything wrong with it. They're like helping out their friends. I don't operate at that level, and I would not partake in a business like that. In fact, like I remember like finding out that I was in a 401k. I had a 401k when I was in corporate. Like, that's not even, I don't even get off on that. That's another video. That's like a whole other tangent. 401k is like horrible. If you have one, you really need to get some financial education and get yourself out of that thing. That is not, it should not even be, a 401k and the word investing should not even share the same sentence. But that'll be another video. But anyway, I had one of those at one time before I realized that they were so horrible. And I realized that I was in a mutual fund that invested, like one of the sectors or companies that were in the profile of it in the prospectus was TT Reynolds or something like that. It was a tobacco company. And as soon as I realized that, I'm like, get me out of this one. Just put me in something else. But then I guess if you could look at all of them that way, like Coca-Cola, do I really want to sugar water. Do I want to invest in that? Again, it's profitable, but if you're investing based on core values and ethics, you're going to have you're going to have different criteria. Because there's a lot of things that can make money. I mean, drugs, pornography, prostitution, alcohol, cigarettes, all these pharmaceutical drugs, like all these things, you have to decide if it's aligned with who you are and if you could feel comfortable with those things. And I did not, and I don't. So I'm getting off on a tangent, but I guess I was talking about my uncle's business, and I'm like, no, I could not help you with that. I just can't. So anyway, he also had Section 8 housing. He had apartment complexes that he rented out to people that were of low income or had disabilities. So I kind of, that was kind of cool. And that's like guaranteed by the government. And he kept him up really well because obviously he was a contractor. He was a GC, and he knew how to do plumbing and electrical stuff. And if he didn't have the energy or time or whatever, he always knew who to call that would do it for him because he built houses. So I learned a lot from my Uncle Rich about these kind of things at a very young age. I mean, I was in grade school, like I think fourth, fifth, sixth, maybe even up until 8th grade for a number of years. So that was kind of cool. So I've had influences that have been entrepreneurial in my childhood, and then kind of like a lapse where I was with my mom and she was working for the government and I was going to college and working all these corporate jobs. And it's funny, like, at that time back then, I was like, wow. I mean, I thought like $60,000 would be a cool amount for me to like make, and I thought it was kind of exciting the first time I made six figures. You know, I was offered $100,000 job. I was like really excited. And it's funny how then you learn about, you know, you're in a higher tax bracket and you don't have any real estate and you don't have any write-offs, and then you learn, which I learned from Robert Kiyosaki and Mark Kohler, about taxes and tax strategies and advantages and stuff. And I'm like, wow, I worked so hard all this time to get a six-figure job, and now I have one and they're taking all my money. So I switched things around and did stuff like on a 1099 basis where I could have tax write-offs. And it's all been a very interesting journey. And I'm very excited to share it with you. I have a lot of stories along the way, and a lot of growth, and a lot of maturity, and just meeting new friends. And I can't believe the impact of social media, like that. I have to like thank Chris Record. If you're out there, if you ever see this video, Chris Record, why I'm thanking him is because in 2009, oh gosh, there's so many things that happened before. I have so much to say. Well, let me go back a little bit. I discovered Robert Kiyosaki's books in 2001 and read like everything that there was to read about that. And the cash flow quadrant really changed the direction of my life. And I need to thank Robert for that. But the problem is, it happened when I was laid off and I was browsing around in Borders and found that book just totally by serendipity. It was meant to, you know, the universe meant for it to fall into my hands at just the right time. But after I read it, as you can imagine, you remember when you first read it, like you're really eager to put it into action because I'm a doer and I really wanted to take action. The problem is the timing was not right. So I'm like, okay, I need to make new friends, I need to understand real estate, and I need to get some. But it was like in 2005 when I discovered real estate through that book, and it was just the wrong time in the market, and I didn't really realize that. So I had a couple of properties. Yes, I've been a landlord to a lot of different tenants. I had 4 properties in Fredericksburg, Virginia, a little bit outside of the area here. Townhouses, really cute ones too, and I did everything wrong. Like, I had no mentors, I made all these mistakes, I lost money, I lost time. I still have pictures of these houses. I was like a landlord. I managed them myself, and then I got a property manager. Oh my gosh, that's another video. I could make, I really need to get on here and make videos and not like worry about them being perfect and worry about my hair and my background and everything. I have so much to say that you guys could probably learn from. But anyway, I had these properties, and long story short, I had to get rid of them and sell them, and you know, on a short sale kind of a basis. So it was very I felt very defeated. And I originally wanted to keep these homes for life, like for a number of years, but anyway, I rented to single moms because that was sort of in my heart to do, who had children. They actually are some of the best tenants. They'll take care of the house like it's their own because they really are appreciative, and it's sort of like why I wanted to do that. And but if I could have only done it responsibly, you know, they could still be there. So anyway, that's going to be another video because there's a lot more to it. But anyhow, in 2009 when I met Chris is a really great business person and marketer, and business development, and just a real opportunist that can make money from almost any opportunity that he gets behind, and he's just amazing. But he came out from California to the East Coast to build up a company that was a real estate investing company, education company, real estate investing education company, and it came just at the right time because I made all these mistakes, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I need to learn how to do this right so I can recover from this and do it right the next time. So I invested in this education, and it was phenomenal. And that was just one part of what happened. The other part of what happened was Chris was teaching us, because there was an opportunity to buy the education and also sell it. So you could sort of like make your money back if you were, selling it, and you learn, I needed to learn how to sell too, because I didn't know how to sell things, or market things, or even market myself. It's just, how do you convey value? So that was the beginning of a lot of new entrepreneurial skills, learning from Chris. And his emphasis was on social media, because he was he was a sales trainer, so he was training us, and he was always on the cutting edge. And he's like, okay, well, if you want to get people to learn about this and stuff, you got to get on Facebook and start talking to people. And I was just like, I had this preconceived notion of Facebook at the time that a lot of people may have had at that time, was like, okay, I'm busy, I'm professional, I'm a productive person, I'm not about wasting time, I'm not going to get on a social network like a teenager and sit and chat about nothingness and post like every single thing I do, and just, I value my time. I want results. Like, how is this going to help me? I mean, aren't people on there to socialize? They're not on there for business. And anyway, I just didn't understand it at the time. And he showed us a lot of ways in which you could use Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and WordPress to build a business online and build a reputation and meet people that are like-minded, that, are all over the globe. And I ended up with 5,000 friends. Like, I don't know what I usually reserve that word for like a real friend, like who would be there for you no matter what, like totally loyal offline person that you could call at 3 in the morning if something went wrong. But I guess we have to revise our definition of friends. I ended up with 5,000 people on my friend list in no time. Like, it did take some time, but I'm just, who are all these people? But I think at that time, a lot of people were collecting friends and saying yes to everybody, like non-discriminately. And I've actually had to delete and block a lot of people over time that just were inappropriate to be on my list, from the things they said and the negativity or stuff like that. But the good news is I've met a lot of people and I've learned a lot, and it's just like things cascade because you see what they're interested in or what they're doing, and you just sort of like go on these tangents like here and there and there. And I don't even know how I discovered some people or some things or some products and programs. I can't even do any traceability like how it happened, but I'm glad it did. And I wouldn't have ever got on there, I don't think, or I surely would have been delayed, or I wouldn't have used it in a business sort of a way if somebody else introduced it to me instead of Chris. So I'm always thankful to Chris Record for getting me on social media, and everything that's cascaded after that really originated with him. So yeah, so I met all these people and discovered Brendan Burchard and discovered Jeff Walker and Travis and Kenny at Kajabi, and Bradley Will and Gabe Strom in Chicago, and Monica out there, and she does video marketing, and Mia Davies in California, and Jeffrey Combs, and Mark Kohler, and just a lot of different people and a lot of different things. And I'm so grateful that I've been on this journey, and all the different things that I've learned, I really want to bring them to you. And I'm going to be doing that through my company that I mentioned before. It's creatingdigitalassets.com. and depending on when you see this video, it may not, our redesign might not be just ready yet, but it's coming. And I think I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to try to do more videos. And yeah, so that's all I have for tonight. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye bye.